Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Tamar Meisels. I'm a Jewish wife and mother living in Israel, and I love to talk about Jewish values, being a mom in Israel, and if that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a very serious topic, which is Orthodox Judaism's view on abortions. This question has become extremely relevant in recent years as ultrasounds have become more advanced and technology has advanced so that we know so much about the fetus when he's still in the womb, about his DNA, and also abortions have become more efficient, more available. When a new question arises in Jewish law, we then look at our sources in the Talmud, the Mishnah, the Tanakh, and we try to understand the underlying principles, like what exactly is the status of the fetus? What is the prohibition in terminating a pregnancy and harming a fetus? And answering these questions will help us determine if we are allowed to permit abortions and terminating pregnancies in various circumstances. Now, I'm going to give you some of the underlying principles. Of course, each case has to be determined and decided by the rabbi and the doctor who knows the exact case of the fetus and the exact case of the mom and the family. But these are some of the principles. So while opinions in Orthodox Judaism do vary greatly, they all agree that the fetus's status is sort of in between, meaning we know we're not allowed to harm him. In fact, we would even break Shabbos to save a fetus's life, but at the same time, his life is not exactly like a real human life. Someone who kills a fetus, his punishment is not as severe in Jewish law as someone who killed a human. And we know that we have a source telling us that if a woman her life is at risk by her fetus, we are allowed to kill the fetus in order to save the mom. So we all agree that the mom's life is more valuable than the fetus's life. And so if mom's life is in real jeopardy, we are allowed to terminate the pregnancy according to Jewish law. As soon as the baby is born, meaning his head is out or most of his body is out according to some opinions, at that point he is considered a full human life and we no longer kill him in order to save the mom if necessary. In Jewish law, we don't kill someone in order to save someone else's life. So at that point, he's considered a full human. So to save mom's actual life, we see it is permissible. What if the mom's life isn't in jeopardy, but it could harm her life? Maybe cause her some illness. Maybe the fetus is ill and has some birth defect. What do we do in those situations? So this depends on what the exact prohibition is in abortion. According to the more strict opinions, abortion is a derivative of murder. It's maybe not as severe as murdering a human life, but it is the same category, and therefore only if the mom's life is in jeopardy do we permit aborting it. Other opinions view this prohibition chabala, which means like harming your own hand. We're not allowed to hurt oneself, or the prohibition might be in not inhibiting procreation. God told us to multiply the land, and we're, by aborting, you're doing the opposite of multiplying. In these cases, there's more leeway to allow and to permit abortions in severe cases of the mom's illness or the baby's illness. Another important principle is that time is critical. The further along the pregnancy is, the harder it is to allow in Jewish law to permit abortion. One landmark is the first 40 days. Before 40 days, many poskim, many Jewish law authorities don't even view this as a fetus. So in those cases, we are allowed to abort. Another landmark is the 3-month landmark when the woman starts showing. So prior to that, it's easier to allow. As the pregnancy advances, it becomes harder and harder up to the point where the fetus is able to live outside the womb. It becomes very difficult. That's why, when cases like this come up, we have to rush in on the testing, do all the tests, all the medical procedures as soon as possible so that we're able to make a decision as early as possible. Okay, so like you see, opinions quite vary, but just because we allow abortions doesn't mean you have to abort. Especially ultra-Orthodox Jews prefer sometimes not to abort even when it's allowed. One example of this is Rabbanit Yamima Mizrahi, a very famous Israeli Rebbetzin Rabbanit. She was pregnant with her son, and the doctor told her that her son has a severe heart defect and he won't live very long. At that point, I'm not sure, but she probably could have consulted with her doctor and rabbi and been allowed to abort. But she decided at that point she is going to leave it up to God. He is going to decide how long her fetus is going to live for. And she decided to keep the pregnancy, and her son did pass away very early, but she feels it was in God's hands. My rabbis, my communities are generally, Orthodox communities are generally more lenient and do allow, in severe cases, in certain circumstances, to abort. Of course, this is case by case depending on what the status is of the mom, the family, the fetus, and all these together to determine if, in that case, abortion is permissible. In Israel today, you can say that the situation is pretty much pro-choice. Any woman can get an abortion. She does have to go through a committee, but the committee does approve 99% of the cases. And if she doesn't want to go to the clinic and get subsidized abortion, then she could go to private clinics and for a few thousand shekels can abort. So this is the situation in Israel today. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up.